welcome to my channel. I am San D1, and what you're seeing today is a gaming footage. Well, it's not really a video based on games, but yeah, it's just the middle of the game. But I'm just doing it for some visuals so that you have something to watch while I actually do my commentary. So today I'll be speaking about the anime Naruto. You must know it's a pretty well liked anime, and if you're an anime fan, Naruto is one of the anime which probably many fans won't miss watching. And yeah, it's a pretty great one. From my experience, I really like this anime. So, um, first of all, what I'll say, it's for my introduction, I'll say um, Naruto is one of the most iconic anime of all time, and for good reason. It had amazing world building, intense battles, emotional arcs, which actually inspired many of my stories, and specifically the bonding part, which I really liked. I think I had already said about it in one of my earlier videos. Today, I will mainly be focusing on some parts which I think they probably could have developed. What I mean by that is, there were some flaws which you have to keep in mind. That obviously there are some animes cover up for, and the biggest flaw you all probably know, it's the female character development. Females aren't given that much focus. Yeah, there are some pretty stronger female characters, but yeah, some of the characters don't really get that time to shine, and it also goes for a few male characters like Rock Lee. So yeah, the main part is right here. Okay, so if I actually would talk about it, um, first character I'll be talking about that needed development would probably be the female characters. Among the female characters, I think the ones who needs the most development is definitely Sakura. She's obviously one of the most hated characters, by the way, which I don't think should have been the case due to the fact that she was the female lead character in Naruto. By the way, though, there is yet another character who is actually, I don't think even remembered that much, who is probably Tenten from Team Guy's team. You must remember Guy, right? She was from Guy's team, the same team where Rock Lee was from. And she also needed some areas to sign. We also did had Neji. Neji also, the death of now, what I'm really gonna be focusing on would be to tell you all how this plot could have been improved a lot. Yeah, it's already good. It's already a pretty good anime, but I'm just talking about how this anime could have improved even more. It could have been even better than what it really is. Okay, now for that reason, I'm first of all directly jumping into business here. And let me just say, I have nothing to do with the anime. I'm fine with whatever it is. But yes, there are some changes I think if it could have been made, would have made this anime even better. And I don't think there is any harm in just telling which part could have actually boosted the anime and could have made it even more famous. Probably could be competing with some high level anime, or could have become one of the best anime ever. And there are some parts which the author probably isn't really good at, which is writing female characters. Yeah, there could be flaws for some writers, and specifically speaking of which, it is a shonen, so it's not really based on romance. For that reason, there could be problems like that. Problems like that can arise. It's a pretty normal thing, and I'm not really talking much about that. Okay, so what I'll be focusing on here is the relationship, which is obviously one of the things I don't like. That is Sasuke and Sakura relationship. I mean, they ended up together, which is obviously one of my greater disliking. And you know why? Because they define my alphabet love rule. I mean, come on, S and S. That's not on my pairing chart though, and also it's against my rules. For that reason, I don't allow it. Uh, well, just joking though. Okay, it definitely is true that I don't really like it personally, but that's not the only reason though. Yeah, there are many relationships like which are the commonly relationship who actually end up being pretty good couples and pretty like couples. But they for them though, they are not really that liked though. For that reason, I'm picking this up. It's not due to my alphabet logic part. Now, let me just tell you the reasons though. So, what happens here is you probably had seen the scene right where Sakura was probably having no development. I mean, she just was like the romantic love interest of Sasuke, which was the flaw that I think was the problem. And it was a big flaw, let me just say. I mean, imagine how much powerful she could have been if the story gave her true growth beyond just chasing Sasuke. I think she deserved to shine as her own character, not just someone who forgives everything and waits. What I mean by that is, you had probably seen the scene, right? Where she was almost killed by Sasuke, and to end up with the same character who almost killed him, I mean, killed her, is what can I say? It's pretty weird or pretty creepy for some reason. Yeah, weird or what can I say? Basically, though, it just doesn't fit right with me. I mean, you were just falling in love with the same character who just was one time trying to kill you. It just doesn't work out that way. So, basically, that was one of the biggest flaws, which is obviously one of the reasons why she's not liked. Though, let me just say one thing. If Sakura's character has got some more development, Naruto won't be as we're seeing it is. It probably could have got more recognition all throughout the world. Or it could have been even one of the better animes. I mean, it could have been far better compared to many other animes which is above it. And that's obviously one of the biggest parts is Sakura's growth. I mean, that's very necessary. And alongside, there are many characters who also needs growth, I pretty much know. But Sakura's growth, I think it's be the biggest factor in deciding the anime's fate. Or yeah. Now, basically, one thing I'll say, the parts I liked was Naruto's character. I mean, you cannot really hate him. He's such a good character. He has got his own backstory, and it just really feels pretty. I just feel pretty like he's lonely and he just wants friends, and his power is the bond and friendship, which is the part I like. And let me just say, I have also included it on many of my stories, and I'm really respect. I have got respect for the author who actually came up with that concept. That is the strong point I like about Naruto. And I also like Sasuke's character. But Sakura's character is pretty much like, yeah. Now, why I like Sasuke's character? Well, that's due to the fact that he may have sided with the villains, or let me just say Orochimaru, and also the Akatsuki. But if we just go on with his analysis, he had got his own goals just like Naruto. I mean, he wanted power while Naruto wanted friends. So they actually had their own goals, no matter what. I mean, even villains have personalities, right? And Sasuke was exactly that. And it's also quite interesting to see him deflect to the evil side, which is also a big part of learning. And he also wanted to destroy Konoha for what they did to him, which also adds an interesting plot to characters. And let me just say, what I'm gonna do right now is trying to change the plot to see if I can make it any better. And I mean, what I mean by that is, it is already a pretty good anime. What I'm gonna try to do is make it even better. So shall we get started? Okay, for the starting, let me say one thing. For developing it, I need to make some modifications. First of all, if you okay, and that basically would mainly focus on Sakura. Because Sasuke Naruto's character is fine. The only change that I think should have been made in Naruto's character is that he was too obsessed with Sasuke, which is a big flaw, a big red flag. Yeah, I really like their brotherly bond though, which developed over time. And yes, Naruto was really seeing him as a brother. And there are very many misconceptions around that fact and all. But yeah, he saw him as a brother, a brotherly figure. Because he never had any family. I mean, he was obviously an orphan. So for that reason, he obviously felt like that. And I totally understand what his feeling was. He was also pretty obsessed with Sasuke, and he didn't really know that there was almost no saving him. The fact is that I think they could have made that. I mean, they could have done something about the obsession though. That was probably one of the parts which I think Naruto is a bit hated towards. So for the obsession part, what I can say is there could be one of the parts where like he somehow realizes that well, all friends don't stay by your side. There are some who betray, which I also sort of add in my stories, especially if you read Bound by Light and Darkness. So basically, that is the part where I think they could have added some more growth towards Naruto's character, and to at least make him realize that everything doesn't really go your way in life, which is actually a very true fact. And friends do betray though, and that's pretty common. Now, another thing though that I would say is on the starting part. In the starting part, what we can do is look at Sakura's. I mean, if you look at the translation of Sakura in English, it actually means cherry blossom. So for her character, I feel like we can actually make her a flower ninja. Because you see, there are some ninjas who are pretty much specialist in some specific elements or some specific techniques. Just like you see, with, with your mind transfer jutsu and Sasuke with his fire techniques from Uchiha clan. So just like that, we can also add the same thing for. I mean, see, also Naruto has that wind element. We can also add the same for Sakura, and that is the flower element. That would actually give some uniqueness to her character, and also we can make the Haruno clan the experts in the flower techniques. That will give some uniqueness and add some value to her character, her clan, as well as plot. That is the part that makes it interesting, right? Alright. The next modification, let me just say, I think the entire Naruto as well as Naruto Shippuden would be intact. I'm just gonna make some changes though. In the Naruto part, I won't really make much changes. The part that I wanna make changes on will be the Shippuden part. Because I feel like all the part in Naruto is just based on learning. I feel like it should stay intact as it is. Shippuden is the part which will probably start showing development. Alright, so what I mean by that is, okay, but everything will be same until and unless there is that part where Sasuke tries to kill Sakura. Everything would go at the exact same way. And especially you may be a bit depressed by that insult part. So now what I mean by that insult part is not the insult part. It was the part where Sakura actually to just let go of her feelings confesses to Naruto. You may remember the part. I think I don't have to explain it. You probably remember that part, right? Where, yeah, I guess you remember. So let me say, what will I do here? Well, so what happened in that part was well, after all those uh, Gokage Summit, I guess it is called Gokage Summit. In that summit, you obviously know what Sasuke did, but Sakura was obviously very emotionally damaged and just sort of wanted to shake off the feeling and just wanted some, just wanted to tell to Naruto to stop chasing Sasuke, as she thought it was her fault that Naruto is after Sasuke. So basically, that's why she actually went up with the false confession. And let me just say, it is mainly the part where Sakura is not really liked. That's the part where what fans really hate about her. And let me just say, I'm also gonna keep that same part constant. I won't change that part. The part which I will change is the part where she was almost killed by Sasuke. Well, and obviously you obviously know Naruto and Kakashi probably came at the right time, and well, for that reason she was actually alive. But yeah, the part is from that time on, she will obviously stop relying on her emotions and probably to try to change herself. So that can actually add the development in her character. That's what I feel. From that part, her character may change, but obviously it would be a gradual, slow change, and that's also a part of learning. So it also conserves the plot pretty much. See, I'm not really reading the plot that much. I'm just adding some modifications to it, and she can have slower, gradual growth, as I said. Okay, now next up, another thing that I want to do is, you probably also know the Akatsuki, and they are a big problem. And let me just say, after this part, the plot almost jumps to the war part. And what I have to do is introduce another Akatsuki member. Yeah, now you see, basically the Akatsuki were in pairs. There will be another Akatsuki who will not work in pair, but rather would be manipulated to join in. Okay, and he will also have a backstory. Let's just say his name is Atsuhiro, who actually uses fire techniques. So what I'm gonna do is add this character to Akatsuki, a new character, and that will be the big influence right up. So what will happen here is, he basically will be the fire ninja, and he will also be overpowered, as you already know. Every members of Akatsuki are overpowered. And the backstory part, let me just say, his backstory would be his nations in the previous war. You obviously know there was a previous war. In the previous war, his nation, which will consist of many types of ninjas, sort of resembling Konoha, his entire nation will be destroyed as a result of the war, for which he will actually have a grudge against every nation, and he would just want to destroy everyone for vengeance. He would hate everyone, and yes, obviously he's the only survivor, so that's the interesting part. So what he'll do is just take down everything, and also go against everyone in the war. And he basically will sign in the war part. In the previous parts, he would just be the casual guy. That's all. I mean, he won't really care much about all the stuff happening or something. In the war arc, what I can do is, he can first of all attack the medical camps once. That's the first encounter with Sakura. And yes, that's the part where Sakura can sign. And also, you know, that would be the part where Naruto would be in his training arc. And obviously unknowing of the war though, and well, he will obviously attack the medical camps, just seeing an opportunity. He just would want to kill more people, just for the sake of vengeance. So yeah, and Sakura will basically have a pretty tough battle, and obviously that time there will be no strong shinobi present there. The strong shinobi, what I mean by that is something of the Hokage level or something of Naruto's level, I say. Just like Shikamaru or someone like Gaara. Yeah, and by the time they arrive, like someone like Gaara or Shikamaru arrives, um, well, he'll be forced to retreat, and obviously the battle will be pretty tough for Sakura indeed, and that will be one of the bigger lessons for her, that yes, she has to improve her techniques. And also she is a healer, by the way, but yes, she would also focus on training herself, which will add some growth to her character. That's mainly the part which can lead to growth. Also, we can also add Asuri's character to do some more stuff, like yes, we can add the war part quite a lot. He'll be helping the Eto Tensei once in his own way. He can add some more villain. He can add to the more villain groups, I guess you could say. Okay, what I mean by that is, well, he can just add to be another villain character. That's all. And yeah, it's gonna be tough to add him to the plot. It's a pretty tough job to do. But what I really am thinking is, he can actually also have an encounter against Naruto. If he does have an encounter against Naruto, and yes, he'll be pretty challenging for Naruto himself. And obviously after he finds about the war, he would also has to face against him once. And then we can also give chance for Rock Lee to sign. Yeah, he'll also have an encounter with Rock Lee another time. And yes, he would also see how strong Rock Lee is, and yes, it will also be a time where Rock Lee gets more screen time. And it will be thanks to his character getting introduced. You can see more of Rock Lee. Yes, filler parts definitely work out in different ways, but this canon, and let me just say, he can get some screen time in canon. And that's what I'm mainly referring to. Guy's team also deserves some more role, and that's what this character would basically fulfill, the role of the role for giving other characters screen time. I'm basically taking him for the screen time element. Alright, and after that you have all the war parts. You already know what happens in the war, Obito part, and also the fact is he will be manipulated by Akatsuki to seek pain. The Akatsuki will tell him that they need him, and they are also having the same goal of vengeance just like he has. So that's basically what he will be made to believe, and he will be also manipulated into knowing that they are seeking vengeance rather than peace. He won't really know their system, their twisted ideals. He will have absolutely no idea about it. He would mainly be working against them, working with them without knowing what they really are planning. And yes, in the part where the ten tails, yes, the 10 tails part, we can actually add his character, who would be the first one to try to stop Hachibi and Naruto from getting to Obito, who was technically like resembling Madara. Okay, whatever, Madara part and everything will be same, except the fact in Jinchuriki part, before facing Obito, he will try to stop them or try to defeat them to capture them for the Jinchuriki part. But yes, Sakura would stop him from interfering, and they can actually focus on Obito according to the plot. And Sakura could also be joined by Rock Lee, and that battle would be one of the best battles. And let me just say, Rock Lee and Sakura would get more screen time, and Tenten can deal with the Zetsus coming in their ways, meaning Tenten can also get more focus. Obviously, I think there could be some more instances in which Tenten could get focus, but yes, Sakura's development can influence the plot a lot. So for that reason, I'm basically focusing on Sakura's character. And Rock Lee is also pretty likable character, let me just say. For that reason, his growth will also be pretty influential for the plot. Very much influence the plot, I guess. Okay. So after all those war parts, we also have the Atsuru battle, let me just say. Sakura and Rock Lee together will still have it pretty hard, but yes, with Rock Lee and their combined powers, they'll somehow be able to beat him. And yeah, the Obito part and everything would be intact, and the Hokage would come back. Everything is gonna be going according to plot. Sakura would also join Sasuke and Naruto in technically battling against the Ten Tails. I mean, see the replacement of the Denser, the Sun needs, I guess. Yeah, the bell will also go the same way, except the fact after beating Atsuhiro, Sakura would actually heal him, knowing that he also probably had his own roles. He probably had his own intentions. She would probably understand that and also could relate it to Sasuke. That's the most interesting part though. So yeah, the interesting part lies right here. And relatable character, right? So and also he's the main element. And yes, after healing though, obviously the others would be against it for healing, against her for healing him. But yes, she would tell that she can actually deal with it, etc. etc. And then he wakes up and also realizes that yes, he was indeed manipulated by Obito and all. And I'm just trying to keep it as short as possible. So what really happens is, well, after all that part, you also have that Mugen Tsukuyomi part, and also the OP trial part. Everything would be same, except up in the Mugen Tsukuyomi, Atsuhiro will also join. And I just want to make one change. I think if Hinata also joins them all in taking down Kagura, what was her name? Kaguya Okitsuki. Yeah, they all team up against Kaguya Okitsuki. That would actually make for an even more epic battle, and that would make it more interesting. So after all the stuff though, the final part. Okay, now the final part that I want to make here is the redemption part. Okay, Sasuke would definitely be okay. Now Atsuhiro, after all the stuff, well, he will obviously go with the redemption part. He will be helping. He'll be adopted by Konogakure, and he'll get it as his own home place. Obviously, at least he will have a home, something to call home. Also, for the healing part, he'll obviously there will be some change in his characteristics. I'm not going to details. If they just write it in a pretty good way, it is totally possible to make him a pretty likable character. And I'm not really focusing on writing. I'm just talking about the summary part. So well, and basically he'd be later on pretty liked by other shinobi people, the other shinobi villages. He'd be a pretty liked character. And um, let me just say that we can jump 5 years later. Sasuke also would be the hidden protector of Konohagakure, just like he was meant to be in the according to plot. Only the fact is, after 5 years, Naruto and Hinata's marriage would take place. And that's the part where everyone would gather together. Same also goes for Atsuhiro. Atsuhiro also would be focusing on taking down the rogue ninjas along the way, and yes, by 5 years he would already be redeemed, pretty much, for what the crimes he did. And Sasuke's redemption would also be pretty much almost near. I mean, yeah, at least he won't be feared by that time. And yes, another thing that I want to add is Sakura would also have her own development by that time. Yeah, I mean, she will actually get some independence of her own, sort of enhance her techniques. Yeah, so well, she would be independent, which actually can add some more strength to her character rather than directly focusing on marriage. Okay, another thing that I want to say, yeah, in that marriage, yeah, okay, Sasuke between the redemption part will actually meet up with a character who sort of resembles Naruto. I mean, a woman who resembles Naruto in some way. And well, it will actually be a pretty weird dynamic. And let me just say, I just want to hint that it will just be meant for hinting something. Okay, so yeah, it will just be there for hinting something. And Atsuhiro would also come to the wedding party, etc. etc. And he will stand by Sakura's side while the woman resembling Sasuke would stand by his side, sort of resembling something in the future. Yeah, sort of resembling something in the future. So After all that stuff, yeah, it will just be hinted, not really forced romance or something. So you mean there will be almost no comments for fans to make? Maybe we won't even have a Border series. Yeah, we may have, but except the pairing would be different. That's all. And yeah, that's obviously pretty much would be hinted at the final part of Naruto, specifically at the Naruto Hinata marriage. So that way there will be no forced relationship, and I think that would be the perfect ending. What do you think? Are you satisfied with the way I worked on the ending? And yes, the part here is Sakura got a lot of development, and that will make her pretty likable character in her own right. And her relationship with Atsuhiro would also be a bit hinted in that. And yes, maybe they can also give some more instances with Sakura and Atsuhiro. That obviously is dependent on how the plot would actually go. Obviously, it's just my own imagination. I'm just applying it here. If you want, you may even write a fan fiction about it. Just adding his character and just adding more development. I don't really have that room for development. It will just be a pretty long video if I will have to explain the entire story. So I'm just keeping it short, as short as possible, even though I really want to say that this video is already getting too long. So anyways, I just went with some descriptions. And the fact is, Atsuhiro, the name almost represents fire. Atsui meaning hot. So, and Sakura is also meaning nature. For that reason, I mean, I'm just working it out. Yes. Also remember, Sakura will be the specialist in flower ninja. I mean, it should be a flower kunoichi. That's the part I want to add, and that also reflects her name quite well. And that's the part I'd say would work out quite well. And I mean, see, Sasuke's part is also pretty much balanced by a female character who resembles Naruto in some way. And well, Naruto himself, after meeting her, would be a bit surprised to see some character like him in a feminine form. Well, and I think that would work out quite well, according to me. Because definitely for Sasuke, we don't really have got that much of compatibility with Sakura. Also, he needs time to understand about things like romance or I mean, it's not that instantly, and he needs time to develop on his own. And for that reason, the time gap is needed, and that's why I think giving the 5 year time gap is very important for Sasuke. That actually adds more realism to it, which I feel is pretty important compared to what anime did here. And I think that would make a lot of sense. And yes, for a shonen anime, I think that's a pretty good ending because shonen anime doesn't really focus that much on romance. So I'd say, according to me, it's technically the best ending possibly. And also, this is a thing that I thought about it. And making a new Akatsuki member really adds a lot of plot to it. And also, a surviving Akatsuki member who sort of redeemed is pretty interesting in its own right. So, I just want to know, what do you feel about my choice? If you're satisfied by it or not. Also, I okay, just forget it. Mm. So, anyways, if you like my video, definitely comment, and I will hope to see you all in the next video. And please don't comment about my gameplay though. Alright, see you all in the next video.